Hey guys, Brian delivers you the goods here. I'm returning to you this afternoon, well, I guess early this afternoon, going into afternoon time, for a album review today. And this is for 3 Days Grace's new album that I just found this morning for Explosions, that I had to download in order to listen to it, of course. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna discuss what I listen to for this 3 Days Grace album, Explosions, and let you know my thoughts on it. So let's dive into this album review. Sorry for my yawning a brief moment. Yeah, Matt's vocals in this album are pretty good, but it's just the way the songs are executing on this album that can be a bit cringy at times with the way the songs are playing out. Mostly, this was actually not a bad album. This was a better album than Outsider for sure. So Called Life, I remember giving it a good rating, but now I'm just indifferent about the song. And the reason why I don't really think it's a great song is because there's electronic work in it at the beginning of the song, and then there's a mediocre chorus, mediocre verses. So, yeah, it's not a special song, but it's something at least. It's not bad. So, it's a solid track. So, 4.5 out of 5 for So Called Life. You can definitely go check out my track review for it if you haven't seen it. I know I gave it a good rating, but now I'm just downgrading it because there are some problems with the song. I Am the Weapon is the next song after So Called Life, and that actually kicked ass for sure. Um, Meaning in a good way, it had some good riffage and good drum work, so you're in for a pretty strong, heavy album for sure from 3 Days Grace. Um, I Am the Weapon was probably a pretty banging song for sure. Um, Meaning it's got verses in the song that are pretty strong. And then it goes into this pause moment when he sings a certain line and then a certain line after that for the chorus part. And it actually sounds pretty well executed. So 4.5 out of 5 for I Am the Weapon. There are some moments in the verses I don't know if I can get behind. But other than that, the chorus is pretty strong. So that's what makes the song shine through the rest of the song. So 4.5 out of 5. Then comes Neurotic featuring Lucas Rossi. This one is decent. I remember giving it a decent rating of a 4 out of 5. You can definitely go check out my track review for it. I don't know how I feel about this song, but it's mainly the first two singles were kind of the mediocre tracks, I guess you could say. And yeah, I'll mention about Lifetime in a moment because I remember reviewing it and giving a very strong rating because I really enjoyed Lifetime and the message behind it. So, yeah, Neurotic's still getting a 4 out of 5. It's a decent song. Lifetime is my personal favorite song on this album, for sure. It's probably one of the stronger tracks on this album, along with I Am the Weapon. Everything else, I think the first four songs sound structurally alright. Then when you get to the rest of the album, it's kind of mixed baggage, I guess you could say. It depends on what you think of it, of course. But Lifetime is a very strong track. I really enjoyed the lyrics. I enjoyed the melody and the way the song is emotionally driven with how Matt Waltz is singing the song. It sounds really good with his voice in this song. So, yeah, 5 out of 5. A Scar is Born is average. I don't know how I really feel about it right now. I thought I was going to really enjoy it, but there are some moments where I think it's fine, and then other moments where I'm just unsure what to think of it, because there are some weak moments in the song, meaning some of the chorus and a few lines in the verses. So 3.5 out of 5 for A Scar Is Born. Souvenirs is not a bad song. I didn't hate it as much, but it just had some weak moments in the song, meaning some of the melody can be a little slow to get through, but it doesn't sound bad. So 4.5 out of 5. No Tomorrow's not a bad song either. I'll give that a 4.5 out of 5. I don't know if I have much to say on that one because I kind of enjoyed some moments in the song. Redemption was another decent song. I'll give that a 4 out of 5. Um, and yeah, the next song after that is Champion. And I wasn't sure if I was going to like this one because it starts with Matt Waltz singing Mind of a Soul of a Heart of a Champion or whatever. And that was where I wasn't sure what to think of it, but the rest of the track does get better as you progress through the song. So 4.5 out of 5 for Champion. I kind of enjoyed it a bit. Next is Chain of Abuse. That one was not too bad. It's the message behind it is pretty powerful about someone being bullied and harassed, a girl being bullied and harassed by the way she looks and all that. So, yeah, it's just the bullying around and all that that some people don't really like or whatever. So 4.5 out of 5. I think the song structurally sounds alright, but it doesn't really execute the way it should, if you get where I'm coming from. So Someone to Talk To featuring Apocalyptica, I believe is how you. I might have put Pica in it by mistake. I forgot to put the T in it. When I wrote it down, of course, so my mistake. Yeah, it's a decent song. I don't know how I really feel on this track, because there are some weak moments with Matt singing in the song, with how he's singing the song and the way the song is playing out. It sounds nice piano wise, violin wise, and just the melody is pretty soothing, but other than that, I just found it to be a mediocre track, so 4 out of 5. And finally, we get to the last song, Explosions, and that was a not a bad way to end the album, but not a great way, so 4.5 out of 5. Overall, production, mixing, and execution, I found this album to be average, in my opinion. I think Matt Waltz has his strong moments in this album, and he really did a little better with his singing in this album, but then there's some songs where he kind of holds back a bit with how he's singing and just kind of does some mediocre vocals at times, and some of the tracks can sound mediocre with the production too as well. So overall, I think 3 Days Grace Explosions was an average album in my opinion. I don't know if I'd come back to it too much. I'd come back to a few songs, but A Scar Is Born is the weakest, in my opinion. So for a score for me, I'm giving 3 Days Grace Explosions, their new album, a 7.5 out of 10. This was average. It's going to be on my decent to good albums of 2022 by the end of the year. So you'll be seeing it on that list. Comment below. Let me know what you guys thought of the 3 Days Grace album, Explosions, if you've heard it. And if you enjoyed this album review, it is coming out at midnight tonight. But if you did enjoy this album review, sorry, I thought I was bleeding on the back of my head or whatever, behind my ear or whatever. So I was picking at something, and I probably shouldn't have done that. So yeah, my bad for making you guys worry about that. But yeah, if you guys did enjoy this album review for 3 Days Grace Explosions, keep in mind I was just expressing my own opinion on this. You don't have to agree with me on it. It's just this album was average. It's not their best work, but it's an improvement from Outsider for sure. That's the good thing about it, that it's an improvement from Outsider. Outsider had a lot of weak moments, and this one brought a lot more heavy riffs and heavy drum work in this album, but structurally, the album's execution and production wise and mixing wise was a little bit off at times. But hey, that's just my opinion. But tap a like on this video if you liked it. Subscribe to my channel if you can, support the channel. I'll have another review for another album review. I gotta decide which one to do next. I gotta go run some errands again, unfortunately. So it's gonna be a little bit till I do my next review. It's probably like 4 or so. 4:30, I think. I gotta run some errands and then get to the next review after that and listen to an album, then review it afterwards. So stay safe, guys. Take care. Hope you enjoyed this lengthy album review for 3 Days Grace Explosions. I was just expressing my own opinion on it. And if you guys did like it, that's great. It is a kind of a stronger album than Outsider. That's the only props I'll give them credit for. But it doesn't execute production and mixing wise is the flaws to the album with how it's overall sounding with certain songs. But that's just what I think. So as always, I will see you in my next review.